Hi there everybody, it's UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator Helzie here from slimandstylish.stampingup.net. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today I'm making a Valentine's card as it's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's to you all. I'm not normally a Valentine's person. I'm not a hearts and kisses and pinks and reds type of person. So today I've decided to go slightly different. And I've decided to go with the Alphabest set, which creates your own sentiments however which way you like it, and also the Plain in the Rain set. I've gone with the Plain in the Rain set because I do have a tortoise, Squirt. He's adorable. So I figured that him being on the card would be great, and it just looks a bit more personal that way. And the Alphabest set just so I could create a love ya rather than a love you, because love you would be too mushy for me. So I'm just going to get all of the different pieces off here. This set is absolutely great because they're small enough to just be used on their own, or you can do them individually and punch them out like I'm going to do, but you could create your own sentiment with these quite easily and make them look pretty cool on a card. So I'm just mounting all of these onto lots of little blocks. That's the only thing when you use the Alphabest set, you need lots of little blocks. So I was currently, just before the start of this video, going through every block I had and taking off all my stamps from previous videos. I'm a lazy crafter, and at the end of the day, I clean off all my stamps and put them all away. But up until then, they just sit on the side. So I'm just stamping the frame, and I'm popping the alphabet pieces in it. Now I find that easier because I just find it lines up a little bit easier. And what you'll see me do later on in the video is I actually decide to put an exclamation mark with it so that my love ya is actually 4 and 4 on the lines. Now with this, I'm going through and punching it out, but you just need to be a bit smart when you're punching it. You can punch 2 at a time, but you still need to have enough of a handhold up the top end to be able to still position it. You can see what I mean? I've only got about 1 centimetre there, so you just need to work that out because otherwise it can be a bit fiddly. And now I'm going to be stamping my tortoise and I'm going to be blending him in. So I'm going to be using Memento ink again just to get a nice clean image on him. Stamp him down, and by the way, at the current moment in time, his name is Squirt because my tortoise is called Squirt. But in a minute, I do decide to put eyelashes on him to make him into a little girl. So I decided to go with Squirtina. So I'm just using my blends. I'm using the SU 900 here. I use the light Night and Navy and the dark Daffodil Delight on the flower. And I'm now using light Crumb Cake to bring together the skin tone blend and just blend that all in. On the shell, I'm going to be using light and dark Mossy Meadow, light and dark Old Olive. So the Mossy Meadow will go on the shell and the Old Olive will go in the little bit. Now, my Mossy Meadow got damaged when I moved 2 years ago. That shows you how long these blends last. So the middle always shoots out. I'm not replacing it because it still works perfectly. I just always forget when I pull the lid off and end up having the middle thrown at me. But yes, light Mossy Meadow and dark Mossy Meadow for the inside. Light and dark Old Olive for the little sort of, what are they called? Indents in his shell type thing. And then on the main body, I'm going to go with Crumb Cake Light and Dark. But after I had done the Crumb Cake Light and Dark, I thought to myself, actually, it's looking a bit too sort of crumb cakey, and it should be sort of green. So I actually went over with light soft seafoam, which blended all the colours in nicely, but just gave it that edge of green that I quite liked. And then before I decided to put the eyelash on, I used Balmy Blue, the light Balmy Blue for the eye. And then I used my Stampin' Right marker in Basic Black. And you'll see in a minute, I just put 2 little flicks in there just to sort of like make a little eyelash. So there's Squirtina. Now you can either fussy cut this out, or I do have the dies for the set and you can die cut it out, up to you, whichever one works best. So there we go. Now I've decided to put it on Dark Night and Navy because I'm actually making this card for Mark, and that is his football team colours, so I know he likes blue. He's definitely a blue person. And this is where I decided that actually 4 and 3 looked a bit odd, and I wanted the exclamation mark, so I do come up and do that in a minute. Now I'm going to be using our stripes embossing folder. This is a mini embossing folder, so it would go through the mini machine if you wanted to. I'm not doing that. I've decided to just put it through the middle like that. And I'm putting this onto Night and Navy sheet that is 10 centimetres by 14.39 centimetres. And you'll notice I actually had 2 sheets of the same. So you do need 2 sheets of card. The reason why is I'm going to adhere one to the other one, and I'm actually going to sort of fray the edges. You'll see what I mean when I show you in a bit. So there we are, we're a 4 and a 4. So now I decide that I wanted some silver, so I'm using our elegant trim, and I'm using the silver one. This is great. It's a bit thicker than normal twine, so it sticks exactly where you want it to go. I did do my loop, but I cut it in the wrong place, so I needed to do some fiddling. Absolutely useless, aren't I? And it takes me a couple of times to work out where it actually was before, but eventually I get there. It was 4 fingers. I'm just limping it together. Now I find it really easy to put some adhesive on the back and then play with it once I've stuck it. So you can get this twirls going any which way. And there you are, you can see on the card I've got 4 twirls there, but it actually looks like 5 because of his head. And I'm sticking it down with dimensionals, and the dimensionals are going both on the card and on the twine to make sure they stay in the right place. And then I'm going to stick Squirtina down. There we go. Before I decided to put the alphabet pieces on there, I actually thought I wanted some more texture. So I'm coming in with our white, and I'm just putting the re-inker onto a block, only a little bit, as you can see. And then I'm going to come in with my aqua marker, and I'm going to add some water onto the block, just a little bit. Mix it round so it's nice and runny. And then I'm just going to splat it. Now, you can use any solid object to splat it against. I'm using my snips, but you can use a blend, you could use anything. And I'm going to town. I really wanted lots of white grungy pieces on here. And you can see I keep going back in to make some darker and some lighter, just so I get a real grunge on there. Afterwards, I decided to chop it down just ever so slightly, so that when I actually put it onto the other sheet, it has another frame as well. So I'm just rolling the edges. This is a technique that I've learned recently from some of the other crafters, and I absolutely love it. It makes it look very 3D. And once you roll it enough times, you can just grab a finger hold in the paper to pull it apart. So in a minute you'll see, and hopefully I show you at the camera, yeah. So I roll it one and roll it twice. So I get 2 rolls on there where I've split the card. I just need to keep fiddling with it to break the card fibres down, and then it will work fine. So I'm going to be using one of our adhesive sheets here. This is the adhesive foam sheets, and this is just going to pop this up and create an extra sort of fun element on this. So I'm just lining that up on the back of the card, pulling the base off eventually, and then sticking it down. Once that's done, I'm going to stick all of my alphabet pieces down. I'm actually putting them down the way that I want to stick them so that I know which piece is going in which place. And I'll be using some dimensionals on the back of each one just to make sure that they're popped up as well. Removing the backing and then placing them down. After all of the positioning I did earlier, I actually decided to do this in a row, really uniformed, to make it sort of like square on and how it should be. And I quite liked the effect, to be honest. I much more preferred it as a block. I think I'm more of an organised crafter than I am of a sort of like drop them anywhere crafter. So this made me quite happy. And then I decided quite daftly to add some white metallic embellishment just there. And I like the metallic effects that we have, but they do take a bit of time to dry, and I hadn't added this to my card base first. So for the purpose of the video, I've added the glue to the card base to then stick the card on. But for you, you at home, stick it down before you put the metallic effects on. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully it's an alternative version of a Valentine's card. Let me know in the comments below. And everything I've used today is available from my store, slimandstylish.stampinup.net. See you all soon. Bye.